You work. You actually work hard. And yet, at the end of the month, you're looking at your bank account, wondering where it all went. Not because you were reckless, not because you bought things you didn't need, just because existing in Canada has gotten expensive. That feeling? It's real, and it's not just you. There's a quiet kind of exhaustion that a lot of Canadians are carrying right now. You do everything right. You show up, you pay your bills, maybe you even picked up a side hustle, and somehow you still feel like you're one unexpected expense away from a really bad month. And what makes it worse is that nobody around you is really talking about it directly. People post about brunch, they post about travel, but behind a lot of those feeds is someone quietly skipping things they used to enjoy. Someone who stopped saving because there's nothing left to save. There's a word for this feeling, but struggling doesn't quite cover it, because you're not struggling in a dramatic way. You're just not getting ahead, no matter how much you try. Let's be honest about what's actually happening to people's money. Rent. That's usually the first conversation. A few years ago, a one-bedroom apartment in most Canadian cities was manageable. Not cheap, but manageable. Now, you're looking at $1,800, $2,000, $2,400 a month in places that aren't even downtown. For a lot of people, especially anyone new to this country, that number alone can feel like a wall. Then there's groceries. You walk into a store, and somehow a cart of basics costs what a full dinner used to cost at a restaurant. Beef, coffee, bread, eggs, nothing is where it was 2 or 3 years ago. Car insurance went up, internet went up, your phone bill went up. These small things stack, and here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Salaries didn't keep up. A lot of people got a raise. A 3%, maybe 4% raise. Meanwhile, rent went up 20. Groceries went up 30. The math simply doesn't work the way it used to. So people do what they can. They pick up gig work. They freelance on weekends. They try to sell something online. Not because they want to hustle, but because one income in Canada in 2025 often isn't enough to breathe easily. And debt quietly becomes the thing that bridges the gap. Here's what I think we don't say out loud enough. This isn't just a financial problem. It's a psychological one. When you're constantly watching your spending, when every decision is run through a mental calculator, it wears you down in ways that don't show up on a bank statement. You stop making plans. Because plans cost money. You're not sure you'll have. You delay things that matter to you. Moving in with a partner, having kids, going back to school, buying a home. These aren't things you've given up on. They've just been quietly pushed back, indefinitely. And there's a particular kind of loneliness that comes with financial stress, because it's one of those things people still feel a lot of shame about. You don't tell your coworkers you're stressed about money. You don't post about it. You just carry it every day. In the background, there's also burnout, and I don't mean the kind that comes from working too much, although that's real too. I mean the kind that comes from working hard and not seeing it reflected in your life. That specific exhaustion of effort without progress. And now, layered on top of all of this, there's a new anxiety: AI, automation. The slow, uncomfortable question a lot of people are quietly asking themselves: is the job I have today going to exist in 5 years? That uncertainty, even when nothing has changed yet, adds a psychological weight that's hard to describe. It's the feeling of standing on ground that used to feel solid, and noticing it starting to shift. So what actually caused all of this? The honest answer is, it's not one thing. Canada had a housing shortage long before inflation hit. Not enough homes were built for the number of people who needed them. And when demand is high and supply is low, prices go up. That's not politics, that's just pressure. Then came inflation. Global supply chains broke down, energy got expensive, and the cost of producing and shipping almost everything went up. Those costs got passed to you at the checkout. Interest rates went up to slow inflation, which helped slightly, but it also made mortgages more expensive. and it made businesses more cautious about hiring. Meanwhile, Canada's economy has quietly been losing ground compared to other countries. People are working but producing less per hour than they used to. Investment in new industries has been slow, and the jobs that do exist often don't pay proportionally to the life they're supposed to support. And then AI entered the picture, not in a dramatic science fiction way, more quietly, in the form of software that does what a junior employee used to do, in the form of companies quietly reducing headcount, in the form of entire skill sets becoming less valuable faster than anyone expected. None of these things happen because of one politician or one policy. It's a system under pressure from multiple directions at once, and regular people, people who did nothing wrong, are absorbing most of that pressure. I'm not going to end this by telling you to think positive, or that if you just work harder, everything will be fine, because I think you're smart enough to know that's not always true. And I think you deserve a more honest conversation than that. Here's what I actually believe. The system that your parents navigated, the one where one job, one degree, one house was the plan, that system is not the same system you're living in. And the sooner we stop measuring ourselves against it, the better. That doesn't mean things can't get better. It means the path looks different now. The people I see moving forward aren't the ones waiting for stability to return. They're the ones who've accepted that this is the economy and started building something within it. Not out of blind optimism, but out of clear-eyed adaptation. You're not failing because you feel financially stuck. You're feeling the weight of a system that wasn't built for the speed of change we're living through. And that's worth naming, even if nobody else is. If this hit close to home, if some part of this video felt like something you've been thinking but couldn't quite say, then this channel is probably for you, because that's exactly what we talk about here, the real financial reality of building a life right now, and what people are actually doing about it. I'll see you in the next one.